Are you being tested on the spot with a coding challenge and failing? And do you feel like you have been studying the prep material only to find out that you didn't know enough to pass the test or the mock interview? Or better yet, even worse, an in-person interview? In this video, I'm going to be teaching you a practical way to start seeing the patterns that will ultimately help you learn to start solving the problems at hand. My name is Jason Humphrey. I help coding bootcamp students land their first high-paying job as a professional software developer. Recently, I've had more students come to me with these questions after failing and asking, what's next? And another question I get as well is, am I just a failure at this? And let me be extremely clear, no, you are not. One of the things in programming you have to learn is to see the patterns for yourself. Because programming is nothing more than the same patterns repeated over and over and over, but with different business logic. So let's answer the question, what is Jason talking about when he's talking about patterns? Let me be specific here. Basic language constructs. For example, for loops, while loops, switch statements, comparisons, operators, recursion, and so much more. Ultimately, it becomes the fundamentals of your language that show up in patterns in the problems just like this one. Calculating the sum of all numbers in an array. It's a pretty common problem you might have heard before. And let me give you the patterns that I see in those. I see a pattern of a for loop with a variable to count it. Let's talk about another popular one, the FizzBuzz challenge, right? What I see in that one is creating a variable that keeps the difference and ultimately using a switch statement to figure out what to do next. And you're probably wondering, okay, yeah, that makes sense, but what should I do exactly here? Well, three things specifically. First is, when you start studying over your old problems, take a look at what the problem is actually asking, see if you can figure out the pattern before you start attempting to code it up. The second thing you can do is to go back to the old problems you have answered and break down the problems into the patterns you are seeing. Last is to start practicing on a site like Edabit. You'll see that come over the screen now. But what's great about a site like Edabit is that you can select the language, the level, all the way from easy up to expert, tagged problem types, and it's gamified. Now, why is it important? Well, because what really helps people start seeing the patterns is staying with the same type of problem 5 to 7 times in a row. That way you can get used to seeing the common problems, such as in mathematical problems or string manipulation problems, over and over, so that you can recognize the pattern and you understand exactly then what you're working with. And that way it starts solidifying what you're learning. The question you might also have is, why does this work so well? A couple reasons. First off, your brain thinks in patterns every single day. Right now, you know the patterns of green means go, red means stop. You've also seen the problems that ask for things like a list, and you instantly already know more than likely that means an array. My second point here is you have probably been studying a bunch with a bunch of different problems all around and never really realized it wasn't totally sinking in. Yeah, you felt pretty good about the problem, but feeling good about it won't drive results, but patterns do. So when you can do repetition on these problems and see it for yourself, it has a drastic impact on ultimately what you are doing to get better with your coding. Now, if you like today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. I'll leave a link to a webinar I'm actually running on the Ultimate Bootcamp Success Guide down below.